anyone missing?
Yeah, we sent an email reminding people to join now. We can wait a bit, but I think we can start as well. Depends on the timing.
Okay.
Monica, you lead.
Yes, okay. We will be sharing these on Natalia's podcast and on Woman Beings blog too. So hopefully it will get more people interested about like watching your documentary and all that. So, okay, so I'm Monica Martins. I'm the publisher of Woman Being magazine, an international magazine that. Sorry, I'm. I'm today. I'm like. It's not my day. Hello.
Don't worry, it's Saturday.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining. So my name is Monica Martins. I am the publisher of Woman Being magazine, a feminist research magazine that is based in Scotland. And today we have joined Natalia Bonilla for our event, Women in Water. And we screened the film, the documentary called Red on White, directed by Luisa Passalacqua. Sorry. And so, Luisa, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. It has been a really pleasure to watch your documentary. It was very inspiring for us. So, why did you decide to do this documentary? What inspired you to pick this topic of research?
Okay, it started as a student project, actually, because it's my first documentary. So I had my tutors and my mentors. I was trying to learn how to do all, to work on all the stages of documentary. But when the time came for me to choose the topic, I knew it would have to do with somehow with my daughter, because being a mother, be the mother or the mother of a daughter of a girl, made me discover so much about femininity. And so yeah, that's why. So yeah, she was, when I started, when I had to make this decision, she was 12, so it was easy because that's, or maybe she was 13, and she had just had her first period, so it was easy. We were already embedded in that discourse.
Okay, thank you so much. So, and when you first spoke with your daughter about menstruation, how did she react? What was her reaction? Was she open or she was a bit shy, maybe?
It's really strange. I don't remember. And I was actually, I had to be a bit self critical myself when I did this documentary, because um, I was actually one of those mothers that don't have enough closeness for the girl to feel free to talk about it. In fact, in the documentary, if you see the first moment, the first interview was precisely with my daughter and about her period, and her reaction was quite shy, and so you can tell that my level of awareness developed while I was making the documentary. But at the same time, there was little, I mean, there was no drama, even for me. Even when I had my period, there was no drama, nothing special, just very secretive. So for her, I guess for her, it was similar. There was secrecy, that's what it was like.
So for you, you said that there was like a lot of secrecy around your period. Were you able to have these conversations that you had with these young women, with your peers and family, or was it just impossible?
Sorry, the volume is very low. Could you repeat the question with a louder voice?
Yes.
Okay.
So you mentioned like a lot of secrecy around having your period when you first had it. So did you manage like back then to have these conversations, the same conversations that you were having with these girls and that they were having with their moms and their grandmothers? Did you manage to have like these conversations with your peers and family or not?
Okay, so the question is twofold. With my peers, no. No, because it's one of those things that people don't talk about.
Mm.
Uh, I was, it was 1981 when I was 12 and I got my first period. I don't think there was enough dialogue.
Mhm.
And also in my country, it's all about appearance. So, it would have looked bad raising the topic. You don't do that, you don't, Italy, central Italy. And in, on the other hand, these girls that I've interviewed, there are three, plus my daughter. I had already developed a sort of rapport with them because there was this thing of my daughter being one of them with the when she attended the Girl Scouts, and so I was friend with, I mean, I was their mothers were my friends, and so they saw me, you know so it was kind of easy. And I guess it's probably also a class thing. So those are clearly upper middle class girls, so they're probably, I don't know, there's more communication, as you probably know. There's more communication between people. The higher you go to the top of the society, the more intense the communication between people, and that's a pity. That's a pity, you know. So they were okay talking about it. What they reported was the problems with other people, other girls in school. For example, I don't know, Italian schools where no, Catholic school where people don't talk about menstruation, and you have to be ashamed if you leave a dirty pad in the bathroom, stuff. If you forget to flush the toilet, oh my God, what happened? You don't have to talk. You never, never end up in such embarrassing situations. And I myself remember when it happened to me, or when a friend of mine was staying at my place and they forgot a dirty pad somewhere in the toilet. And, they were apologizing, like, oh, no, no, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. Well, it happens. It happened to me. Relax. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And then I realized, I don't know if this is also part of the question, if I may. It seems to be the right moment to say something that actually didn't find room in the documentary because nobody raised it. I didn't find anything. I have a point about this fear of leaving dirty pads, or forgetting to flush the toilet when there is red on the toilet paper in the toilet. Yeah. And it's actually an unconscious, I mean, what I know, even, considering what, there is a science that studies the behavior of animals, and then when they leave feces around, it's to mark the territory. So my point, I don't know if I will ever do some research on this. It would be interesting. My point is that when there are several women in the same household, there is one who, the first one who leaves a dirty, maybe she's on menstruation, okay, she's got her period, she leaves a dirty pad in the toilet for everybody to see. It's an unconscious and natural, like an instinct, to be the alpha woman. And it's no matter how hard you try not to do it, the unconscious will make you do it. It's unbelievable. I've observed it so many times. It's really amazing. Nobody's, I don't know, I couldn't find any reference to this anywhere, not even in psychology, or I don't know. But I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Maybe I haven't looked properly. So,
Person that I hear about it, actually, and it's very, very interesting.
yeah. So I don't know if I answered your question. Is there any other question?
Yeah. Do you think that in some way participating in this documentary also helped these girls to be more open about this topic with their moms, their grandmothers, peers, and also like support their peers who need it?
Yeah, with their mothers, definitely, because in fact, there are a couple of moments where there was a dialogue between the girls and their mothers, a dialogue that you could tell that had never happened before. For example, regarding what kind of pads to buy. and and so yeah, that was a pretext, but imagine how many other conversations never happened, could have happened in front of the screen for the first time. So there were just minor, just little things, really, just that can illustrate um, the fact that unless someone actually raises the issue or try to intentionally place the attention onto the topic, nobody does anything. Life just flows without really paying any attention. So yeah, yeah. I think the girls and the mothers were very collaborative from the start, but it's not because of the topic in itself. It's because my take is that it's always good to appear in a documentary, and the mothers, the mother would like the kids to be seen because we're all proud of our kids, even myself. I mean, um, or maybe themselves, they wanted to to be in a documentary. People like the idea of documentary. Otherwise, I would have never had that level of collaboration. So the topic in itself was probably not exactly something they were interested in anyway. That was a good thing because in this way it's more unbiased. So we could have covered any other topic. They would have still been collaborative, but because it was that particular topic that they were not particularly interested in, just they were just easy about it. um, I could easily ask questions without them having, without them having ready-made answers. So when the subjects are biased, it's because they have to make a point. Well, they didn't have to make any point. I probably had to make a point. They didn't have any point to make. So it was unbiased. So it ended up being a project that was better, way better than I expected when I started. I thought at the beginning, I thought it's going to be just a student project. But actually, no, because the material was quite, I was surprised. I was surprised when particularly the grandmothers, one in particular, the grandmother in the middle.
Very, very interesting. And what are your thoughts on the ability that like young people have these days, and in this case young women, to connect with other girls and women from all over the world through internet? Like, do you think it's positive that they are getting like this information about body and menstruation, um, or is it, I don't know, is this something that you also would have liked to access when you were their age? Because like when I was their age, there was not even internet yet. So
Yeah. That's a good question, and it's interesting that the answer is in the documentary itself, but it's not very clear, and I'm pleased about that. Yes, the answer is yes. I think it's a good thing. Because it's an oral culture. Nobody calls, apparently, I'm not aware of anybody in digital, maybe someone in digital media studies that I'm not aware of. But I'm the only person who refers to YouTube as an oral culture, the new oral culture, as opposed to reading, for example.
yes.
That's because people can upload a video and so there is an exchange of information. You can find your mentors. In some cases, it can have disturbing consequences. Like, for example, in the case of some um, transgender kids who they're not sure whether they belong to transgender culture, and they might be put pressure on some of them there is a part of them that could actually end up transitioning to the other gender to then regret it later because they were actually just confused because they had identity issues. So that I'm not sure it's 100% positive, but when it comes to menstruation or other things that parents, you don't want to ask your parents about certain things, then yeah, it's a good thing. And there is also, by the way, this filter that, you know, if there's something wrong in a video, it can be reported. So it's not like um, peer, like gang culture. There is a regulation. There are some regulations. So it's out there in the open.
Yes,
People can criticize, shut down a channel easily.
absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
it also helps, like, with concerns regarding the information put out there not being true, because it's easy to just like spot it and remove it. I suppose that
Yeah.
also helps you as a mother to like be yeah, more comfortable about your daughter accessing all this information on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yes, sorry, I don't know if there was a question in your state. I thought it was a statement. Maybe I
uh,
missed it because the volume is still very, very low. I didn't hear the question, sorry.
it's okay. So, how do you feel? Like, do you have any concerns regarding like your daughter accessing all this information on YouTube? Like, because
Oh,
as
no,
okay, yeah, that's good
no,
because
no, no, I'm not concerned because, no, because, well, now she's nearly 16.
mhm,
But even then, I remember training her to notice when there was something disturbing, because there are some disturbing things. So she, you know, establishing a good dialogue with your daughter or your son, for that matter, everybody, you know, boys and girls alike. It means that when they're not sure, the first thing they do, they come to you and tell you about it.
mhm.
So
Yes, that's
um, yeah. So
so. That's,
no, I can't hear you if you were speaking. Sorry.
oh, I don't know if there's any problem here with my mic. Okay, let's
It's just
see.
not, the volume is just very low. I don't know why, and if I can do anything about it, maybe not.
Okay, let me see the next question. So, if you can hear me properly. So, the film doesn't show anything graphic related to menstruation, but there are elements in it, like represented by nature, for example, that are related to menstruation, to the female body. Why do you choose to add these elements and connect them with womanhood?
Okay, yes. Apart from there is at one point there is a web page with some little screens where there are some graphic elements, but I don't consider that actually as a graphic element. But so just to yeah, probably because I am part of the problem. I could have actually shown something red on white. Okay, something more graphic. um, I was just experimenting with metaphors, so yeah, I guess it was a drill for me, and I just instinctively noticed when I was going to places for other reasons, carrying my video camera. I instinctively noticed that there was something related, for example, water, fertility. I don't know why. Someone told me, some other colleagues of mine watching the first rough cuts, they told me, oh, white and red fish, you know, they actually at the beginning they criticized me because they said you never even mentioned the word period. Why? This is about period. So I that was at the beginning, the first 10 minutes, the first 5 or 10 minutes. And then and then they said, I only realized you were talking about the period because I had no idea until I saw the white fish and the red fish. I found that really, really strange and actually quite flattering because it means I was able to convey that you know, the meaning of period with a metaphor, and I went yes.
That's good.
So the statue of the woman with water again, but also made of metal, so not human. So there's something negative about it. And then also holding something heavy on her head. And then the what's the name of the flower, the red flower? Sorry, I don't remember. I knew, but I don't remember. There is a field full of red flowers at the end.
Poppies?
Sorry?
Poppies?
Poppies, yes, poppies, exactly. So this poppies at the end because they're red, and there is also a reference to a little song, like a popular saying about, well, it's quite a mysterious in Italian, in our Italian culture. Poppy is, there is a sexual meaning.
All
There's
right.
something that has to do with being a girl and
Mhm.
sex. So I wasn't even aware of what it meant. I always wonder, still now, I'm not clear what it means. But the reference to the poppy, the poppy as a reference to being a girl rather than a boy, and
Mhm.
challenging femininity, and there's something along these lines. So it made sense. I don't think there's anything else, and I even felt that there weren't enough metaphors in the movie. I don't know.
They are definitely very good. I enjoyed like
Yeah.
trying to get it. Um, and so how did how as a woman and as a researcher and psychological anthropologist, how has this documentary changed you? What was your view on menstruation prior to Red on White, and how is it now? Any change?
It it changed my understanding of what's going on at the moment with the web,
Mhm.
because um, then I realized that there are many other topics as well, that I didn't even think of, that um, that my daughter has access to, and so not only her but everybody else, and I'm not aware of that. I wasn't maybe taking the web and the internet more seriously, because I've always dismissed it as something not really. Actually, something really annoying. It's annoying, including Facebook and these things, social networks. Actually, it's a big phenomenon. It was about time that I accepted it. So
Mhm.
it's changed me in that maybe it's not even about menstruation. What I've learned is I've learned more about the digital world, and because they are, for them, because they are natives of technology, it was easier for them to absorb this culture and to actually connect and have this interface brain, actually quite literally the area of the brain that uh, is developed in the brain when you interact with digital media. They got it that much more developed than us. I'm in my 50s, so that it changed me as a middle-aged woman in a digital world. When it comes to menstruation, it made me realize that men just don't get it. Because when I screened this documentary and I had a fundraising event, there were still men saying, "Excuse me, what's the problem? Are you still complaining about this, about the world not acknowledging, femininity?" And I was like, in which world are you living? Excuse me. And people who had daughters, even, no, men who had daughters. But what's the problem? Are you still, you're still complaining? Do you think we are the problem, really? They. And then because I know every single one of them, because one could say, well, maybe they were actually good people, men, evolved,
Mhm.
uh, maybe knowledgeable, or with no one could say they were with no um, prejudice or discrimination behavior. But actually, I knew them because they were my friends as well.
Yeah.
And one of them was my partner at that time. He was. And, and the comments I heard from him afterwards, like he was complaining that some women, when they have the period, because he was an entrepreneur, so he had employees, okay, and female employees, sometimes there was like probably one or two who would stay at home and not work because of their period pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing he told me after the screening was uh, a comment, a very sarcastic comment about this, that he said something like, oh well, it's a very, very important topic because I think that all women should stay at home when they have their period, the first day of their period. But he said that in a very, very sarcastic way. It wasn't serious. It was very sarcastic about it. So that's also what I learned about, particularly about menstruation.
We've also learned that some people are still have still not learned about what menstruation is and how it affects our bodies,
Yeah,
our mental health.
yeah,
And how do you think that each one of us can help young girls around us? I also have I've got a 8-year-old niece and a 14-year-old and another 14-year-old niece. How I'm very open speaking about these topics with them, but how would you say that we can help like these young girls to connect to their bodies and to their female cycles, their
yeah.
women?
Yeah, I knew about this question, and sadly, this is the most difficult one to answer because this is not just about menstruation
Mm-hmm.
or even just about femininity. This is about corporal reality. And the problem is so radical, that is so everywhere, universal. Uh, it's everywhere on the planet. Even bigger than misogyny itself. Misogyny is a universal thing. Well, the problem with corporal reality is even larger. It's if I were to be honest and answer honestly, the first thing that one has to do is to acknowledge the fact that we're made of bodily fluids. We poo, we pee, we sweat, we spit, we vomit, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a consequence, blood coming out of down there, that's fine. Smells, it's okay. Everything we smell. And it's this is nature. So it's a problem is a nature and culture dilemma. And I don't think it's just a Western thing, but in our Western society, it all comes from Plato and whoever he represented, the whole culture, the Mediterranean culture of contempt for bodily, the body and the matter, and that's where it comes from. So maybe even before getting to the age of 8, 9, 10, much earlier, both boys and girls, both boys and girls,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, and the mothers, the problem is the mothers and fathers. Do they actually, um, love the body of their own body and and bodies? Do you actually love your bodily reality? The respecting everything about the body, and because then it's a long story, because it's not just the matter, it's also the bodily functions. Like, do you actually feed your child when he or she is angry as soon as he or she is born, or do you force a schedule on them? Because the body has its own intelligence. If we force a schedule for eating, a schedule for sleeping, a schedule for pooing, You know, that the psychoanalytic idea of toilet training, that applies to everything. And that's how we impose our power on the body. So if we don't do that first, there's no point in talking about acknowledging the legitimacy of menstruations, you know? That's another rhythm. And that's a problem. Culturally, it's a problem because culture can disrupt bodily rhythms easily with eating, feces, and what's the other one? Sleep. I don't know, maybe there's another one as well. But with menstruation, no.
Mhm.
They can't. They can't disrupt it, you know? Well, they maybe can fluctuate a little bit, but it's there and it's always going to be there. And that sucks, culturally speaking. So yeah, I don't know if I made myself clear.
Yes, you're very, very, very well, very good. And I would, is it okay if we now ask Natalia and Irina and Perla if they have any questions for you?
Yeah.
So yes, would you, any of you like to, okay, we have a question from Natalia and from Perla here. So Perla asked, what can you say to the girls that feel ashamed of this topic in public because someone said it is not important?
Someone said, oh, okay, so someone said it's not important. How, okay. Um, well, it's hard to say in an abstract way without knowing the girl, the specific girl. Um, yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe I have a bias because my other job is counselor, so I know what to do when someone comes to me and says that she has such a problem that could be similar to this one. Um, so I would probably just say, you know, to improve again the relationship with one's body, because that applies to everything. It could be the period, but it could be um, weight, it could be physical appearance in general, could be the nose, even gender, could be even gender. So the problem with menstruation is just one of many things. Uh, but I'm not sure I answered your question. Maybe what could it be? An easy, a quick fix. Well, there's something that one can say to people who are challenging. For example, there was one in a chat. There was someone who was saying, "How do you tell your mom that you've got your period for the first time?" Because there are girls who are ashamed of telling their own mothers. And so there were many comments, many proposals. Mine was very, very direct. Mine was, "Mom, I got my first period and I'm proud of being a woman." So you're just very, very upfront. there there to say exactly what people don't want to hear, and then see what happens.
Good. And how difficult or easy was it to have intergenerational dialogues on menstruation?
You mean the three levels, the grandma, the parents,
Yes.
if there was any challenge?
Yes, it was it.
Yeah.
I guess the the challenge maybe this is a question to ask the girls, because there was my daughter and another one, the only ones who were talking about menstruation when there was the grandmother present during the interview, interacting with them. My feeling was that they were a bit bored while the grandmas were telling their stories about them not being told anything about menstruation, not being able to use anything similar to a pad because they didn't exist. Or there is a moment when the grandma, halfway through the documentary, the grandma talks about her first experience when she first had her period, and she couldn't even tell her own sister. But the girls were like disconnected because it was a totally different situation. Not only there wasn't the internet, there wasn't even TV.
Mhm.
There maybe in some lucky places there was a telephone, the one where you had to dial in a circle like this. So it's total disconnect.
I
Then-
wonder about, yeah, I wonder about this disconnection because it feels like, you know, the family is the first contact that a girl will seek to understand this issue, and sometimes through our family members and our women in our family, they don't necessarily, as you were telling just now, like have the knowledge or the interest or, you know, like the care to, you know, go through the process with a girl on it, their first menstruation and such. And what I was wondering is, you know, taboos get passed and shame gets passed through this knowledge sharing at the first, you know, level. And second, you know, the fact that women are, or girls are encouraged to go online and go to YouTube to find more about this. And right now we are in an era of fake news, so basically like how much of what they see in the internet is actually something that's going to educate them. And yeah, I just wanted to like, yeah, learn about it.
yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. And it's in this is made worse by the fact that in city environments, the grandma is not next door or in the same block like it used to be in in villages or extended families. Um, and so you maybe even when you could possibly talk things through with your grandma, you literally have to pick up the phone, arrange to meet up somewhere at the other end of the town. You need a lift to go there, spend a limited time there, then you have to come back. Maybe there isn't even the right atmosphere because someone else is around. So there is a logistic problem. So which is also why we grown-ups have lost our losing we tend to lose leadership with our kids, and they resort to YouTube, which is why it's even more important though that we keep the leadership, because then there are some contents that are not really good. They need to know that there are fake news, and hopefully they learn that at school, but many people don't have that. So yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Okay, we have another question here by Irina. Do you think it would be possible to shoot a similar documentary with fathers and daughters? And how do you expect it to be?
Oh yeah, okay, so this is a good question because there was something that was not shown on this documentary that could have potentially been included, but unfortunately, eh, my mentor said, no, 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 no. This is another movie. This is another film. Forget, it's too much stuff. And I had to remove a lovely dialogue between one of the girls and her older brother.
Oh, wow.
And it's so sad, but I think she was right. There was like another branch of the topic that was going adrift. And the topic of father figures and male figures, as they can become important in a girl's life, for me is very important, even more than female to female, even more, because it has to do with the relationship between genders anyway, and the fact that we are actually both necessary and different, and it's good to be different. And it's like in a good team people are not all the same, they have to be different so that each one is used for what they can do best. So yeah, yeah, that's very. I look forward. I used to have another project, but it's such a big topic. I had to abort it many times. So it used to be my first project, my first screenplay, and it's becoming the last one of my life. So hopefully before I die, I'll be able to. Maybe it's not. I'm not sure it will be a documentary. It's probably going to be fiction instead, but it's about that. Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Thank you.
I think we are all looking forward to see what you do next. Really exciting. It was really good to meet you. And I don't know if anyone else has any questions. And if not, yeah, Natalia, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the symbolic meanings that you were referring to from the poppy. I really enjoyed that metaphor, but also the whole connection with water and fertility. I was watching, I mean, it's one of my favorite movies, The Red Tent, by, it was at Anita Diamond, I think is her last name, and they made the Lifetime movie, and it was, you know, like 4 hour long, and I loved it. And one of the things that you were saying is that the first day of their period, the guys telling like girls like they should stay at home. I think it was your husband that was saying that maybe girls should stay at home the first day of their period. And
Yeah, my ex, yes.
oh, okay, yeah. But it was very. I mean, it reminded me of the red tent as part of like the circular and tribal communities, because you know, women were in old days. I mean, ancestral tribes, you know, sent to, you know, experience their menstruation with other women in the same place. And right now we are just scattered, and this the sacredness has been lost. And I wonder, as we are seeing that though a certain sacredness is lost, we have other parts of the world where women are sent to live in huts, like to just experience their menstruation all alone. Like I, you know, like the most iconic place that people refer to is Nepal, but I know that there are other, you know, circumstances in other places. So I just was wondering, what is your view of maybe this the experiencing of menstruation as a sacred thing, and was it lost, and maybe is it something that we can cherish now, or like ways to cherish it, you know, now? Yeah.
I love this question. I love this question. In fact, I will have to contradict myself completely, because when someone, I don't remember, maybe Monica, to ask me about when my daughter had her first period, what was it like, and I went blank. And I said, I don't even remember. Actually, I did a big thing, an important thing. I created a ritual, and the ritual. I just searched the internet just to, and also remember some reminiscence of some studies when I studied anthropology, um, and some drama therapy as well, because that's also my background. So I created some symbols, and I got all the female figures involved. I invited everybody, and then the custom is that men at one point have to be they have to go outside. So it was really great. I loved that moment. I took all the men and said, now you have to go out. So they went out. So you started like this, and then we had the ritual, and then we allowed the men back in. And there was this aunt from Canada, and she was only there by pure coincidence. So she was there in Rome by coincidence, because she was visiting my sister, and she ended up in this thing, and she realized how important it was, and she cried. She said, thank you for allowing me to be part of this amazing thing, that you organize. So, by the way, I've entered menopause this year, and I'm waiting for the end of lockdown to have a menopause ritual for myself. So, and I want it to be in flesh and bones. I'm not going to be happy with the online version. So I think this is, thank you for the question.
Wow, fantastic. And this has been so rich, this conversation. I could just like stay here for hours and hours. And anyone else wants to ask anything? Or how do you feel?
I think Irina is in Italy. Maybe
Mhm.
she can share a bit with us.
Yes.
Yes, I'm in Milano, by the way. Yes. No, I want to tell you, Luisa, that when my first comment when I watched the documentary was that I really found myself into those girls. Maybe, I don't know, because I live in a similar society. But that was my comment, my first comment. And I don't know if you know something more about that, but I was wondering how the lower classes in Italy can approach to this to the period, to the menstruation topic. I don't know if you I didn't know how to tell them, but maybe you know more about that. I don't know.
So an idea to get lower classes to approach the topic,
Yeah.
to make it easy for them to approach the topic. Well, sadly, I believe once more again through media, through the media, because the isolation is such that they're always on their mobiles. But it has to be done in a smart way, in a way that is educational as well, um, by educating their parents as well. But I don't know if that's the kind of answer you wanted. Can't think of anything else really, because the problem
Yeah,
with yeah.
because while watching the movie, I could understand those girls, because I think I'm more or less the same social class, okay?
Yeah.
But I would expect, I don't know, if we look at the poorest neighborhoods in the big cities, I don't know, maybe it's different. Migrants, maybe it's different, I don't know. But maybe you have more ideas.
Yeah, it can be, it's tricky because sometimes a bit like sex, apparently the taboos are concentrated in middle class, probably lower middle class. When you go to the bottom or to the top, the taboos are less strong. That's what I know, but just double check, okay? Don't rely on what I'm saying.
Yes.
This is what I remember about sexuality in general. I would imagine that the same applies to menstruation. So maybe paradoxically, if you go down to the bottom of the social classes, you probably find careless people who don't care, they just don't care. Or, the upper class because they're more knowledgeable. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have been wondering what would have happened if I had created a completely different documentary with a different social class, because that I already happened to be there, which is why it was easy to make the documentary without spending ages, because I had already developed the relationship with these people long before the documentary. But I had to start all over again, I would have probably chosen different social classes to compare them. And I think it would have turned out to be negative in the sense of pessimistic, defeatist. So I guess, but maybe one trick would be to propose something to, kind of discourses to lower social classes that challenge the defeatism, which, by the way, in central southern Italy is very, very strong. The defeatism, the pessimism is unbelievable. And so that's something that I would challenge from the start. Okay. And the idea of this documentary was also that to just portray something normal, you got this thing, it's coming out of down there, and You just put the pad on and sort it out. You don't have to make such a big deal. You can even laugh about it, about the shape of the shape of pads. And by the way, while I was editing, while I was getting advice from colleagues and mentors, potential mentors, I got some very interesting comments about there was more about the pads, and men wanted me to remove those, and then women wanted me to put it back in. And so no, and then by the way, there was this guy, this important filmmaker, film director, a senior one, who had a slip of tongue, like a Freudian slip, and he called, instead of saying this situation, menstruation, he said disease. He went, oh, what have I said? Oh my God, this is something, it's out of context, but it's important. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, maybe providing narratives that are constructive and not defeatist, because poor people tend to feel defeated even before even trying.
Yes, definitely. It's not easy probably to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not easy. No. My point is that I don't know if this is. I mean, I'm already editing my second documentary now, so I think I'll be. I can carry on. I'd like to carry on making documentaries. My point as a documentary filmmaker is that we should only make a film if we have a solution. If we don't, we end up perpetuating the same defeatist narratives, which is unfortunately a trend in documentary filmmaking. But I understand this is not the context to talk about it. This is more about women and menstruation. So I felt I had to say it.
We are okay with it. It's okay to just reach this challenging. We need to have hard conversations, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, all right. Is anyone would like to add anything else to the conversation?
Yeah, I would like to ask Luisa, basically, how can we support your work moving forward? I don't know if you have like any upcoming events or social media that we can follow and tag you and look forward for more information.
Yes, thank you for asking me. I don't know if the topics will be still. I mean, if you're assuming that I'll stick to this topic, I might do at some point come back to this topic. But my next documentary is about something completely different, only vaguely related. Actually, it is, because it's about South Korean shamanism, and it happens to be the only shamanism that is matrilinear, and it's women, only women. It tends to be mostly women. It's the only one in the world, so it's actually related. So probably what I can do is maybe just share my contacts, and maybe also improve the web pages. And I don't know what you were thinking when you say supporting. Did you mean disseminating?
Like how can we maybe join part of the campaigns, any campaign that you have, any event that you have, so we can join? Or like, for example, this movie, where can it be seen, so we can, this is going to be recorded, I mean, it's being recorded, but for people to be like, hey, I want to know more, where can I find the red and white film, how can I see it, how can I engage in a conversation? That's it.
Absolutely. So I have an electronic press kit with all these pieces of information, and so perhaps I could share it with you guys. I don't know how we can be put in touch.
Yeah, we are gonna we can upload it for the description box of this episode, so that way people can actually download the press kit and have all the information of the red and white film, and as well as any tags or handles of Instagram or Facebook, etc. We are gonna be listing it down on the episode. And I think that through Women Being, if there are more questions moving forward, they can always reach all the network and, continue supporting all this important work. We need to continue filmmaking and writing stories about women. I'm also a documentary filmmaker, and it's like, I've been doing it 3 times already. And it's like right now, that's the road. Like, we need more women directors, women perspectives on women's issues rather than men's telling us what to do, what to think, and how to view ourselves. So I'm so excited for that. And Monica, thank you so much for hosting this with Women Being. How can we follow all your work as well? And looking forward for more soon.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
I would like to say thank you for giving me the chance to be interviewed, and also to, be appreciated by the right kind of people who can appreciate these things. And definitely, probably some of the material that I should send you isn't actually there. For example, there is no one page for this film, but I can make one up, for this purpose. So yeah, I'd like to stay in touch with all of you guys, and I'd like also
Definitely.
to, maybe also connect via Facebook, perhaps, or Twitter.
Yes, we will do that.
Yeah, we will have this one was a networking session, which we're gonna be exchanging data, but we can do it right now on the chat as well if you're interested. And yeah, we can also continue the conversation through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we can share the emails as well, so we can directly contact each other.
Excellent.
It's great.
Is there anything else I need to do? I haven't read, because I can't find my glasses. If there is anything in the chat that I was supposed to read and I haven't. Oh, there were two questions actually. What can you
Oh,
say? No, this has been,
Yeah, we asked.
they've been actually vocalized by someone else.
Yes. Yeah, I asked.
Yeah. Okay, lovely.
This is
Thank
great.
you, girls.
So I'm feeling really good that we were like having this conversation and we watched your documentary, and yeah, it's really good. It was such a lovely afternoon, despite me mixing up the time.
Uh, yeah, it
it
went.
happens.
No, I was a little bit anxious about this thing. There's always a problem with time zones, but it
Yeah.
went well in the end. Sadly, I already knew because I work. I had a meeting, a work-related meeting for payment, and that ended. I
Mhm.
couldn't. I couldn't cancel it. I couldn't
Yes,
cancel it in the same day, and so unfortunately, I couldn't make it earlier than this. So I just want you to know that. I
yes, we know.
Yeah. Okay.
I yes, I mentioned that like it was yeah, my confusion with the time zones. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much, Luisa. We will keep in touch and invite everybody to look at the description box of these episodes. We'll go live on Anchor FM and Spotify and iTunes on Monday, World Water Day 2021. So you will be more than welcome to listen to this. If you're listening already. So thank you so much for tuning in, and talk to you soon.
Okay, we
Thank
speak
you.
soon. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.